everybody.
Hello.
Uh, I'm pretty. You guys should be able to hear us. I just want to double check. Yeah. Hi. I'm all sad. Ben said he couldn't make it today. This is the first for him.
Ah,
Welcome to Beyond Screens, your weekly show on IndieCade, and we are Peih-Gee and David Spira, and we are the Escape Rooms section. And our special guest today is Will Munn. He is the creator of Arium.
Hi.
welcome, Will.
Thanks for having me.
So glad to have you. So, let's see. Let's start off with a couple of things. First of all, because this has become an ongoing segment here, the latest smiley face card left on my doorstep since our last stream. This one is blue, and it reads, for those of you who are unfamiliar, for months now, we've been getting every couple of weeks one of these cards just showing up on our front steps, not in our mailbox or anything, just there. In my heart, I want it to be an ARG that is being forced upon us. In reality, it is probably someone who is proselytizing and trying to convert us to something. But the latest one, which I'm hoping to find a puzzle in, is nobody can go back and start a new beginning, but anyone can start today and make a new ending, which feels really appropriate for RPGs, which is what we're going to be talking about today.
Will, if something like this appeared on your doorstep, what would you think of it?
That's interesting for sure. I don't know what I would think of that. I might get the shivers a little bit.
I wonder if it's because
concerned.
Like, I feel like you're coming from like the tabletop RPG world, so it seems slightly more like, is this what's happening? And I feel like from us coming from like puzzle, like ARG, we're like, is this the start of a puzzle hunt? Is there a code hidden inside it? Because that is a trope that you see in a ton of like escape rooms and puzzle. A mysterious package arrives on your doorstep. Like, what does it mean? Okay, awesome. So let's talk about what Arium is exactly. It is an RPG system that Will created. Do you want to explain a little bit about specifically what it does? And let me know if you want to pull up the slideshow at any point.
Sure. Well, you can if you like. I think that'd be appropriate.
Okay.
So I'm Will, and Arium is a game that I created together with a couple of other folks. A lot of people involved in kind of the big picture of the game. I'm the lead designer, and so for the game, basically, what we sort of our pitch is, we can create any world and then tell stories in that world. That's the pitch, right? And so the world is built collaboratively together with the group that's playing the game. And so basically you take any kind of element that people are excited about, and you just, kind of keep drilling down on those things until you get to something that is detailed enough to play a game in it. And then, so it's in 2 books, actually. So there's a book called Arium Create, and that's the part about the world building. And then there's a second book called Arium Discover, which is about role-playing in that world. And so those rules are streamlined, and I think, will hit pretty much anything you can think of, which is, that's saying something, right? Because people can come up with some pretty crazy things. And we have found absolutely, some very interesting worlds have been built as part of this game.
That's what I love about it, is that, and even your art kind of reflects that. Like, it could be a sci-fi world. You could be playing with dinosaurs. You could be in prehistoric dinosaur times. I played this game with Will last year on my Twitch stream, and the world we built, and I played it with Stephen Fishback, who was on Survivor with me, and with Bill of Bill and Daddy from Escape This Podcast. And the world we built was kind of a like Howl's Moving Castle, Studio Ghibli type world, except that we were like, it was also a magic school, so like floating castles with a magic school in it, and then each castle had its own school, which was based on a textile art. I don't know how that got in the mix, but there was like the school of knitters and the school of weavers, you know, all these different things. And we were like the weavers, and we created, and it was it was a fully fleshed out system that we created in a session like we're about to do today, where like the magic was like in these dye pots, and that's how you got the magic, and like different people, you know, you would create this magic by weaving stuff together. And it was just so rad. Like, I was just telling them earlier, I think about that world all the time. Like, I want to go back and play it some more. I would read a whole series of books based on it because it was so cool. And we did it in like an hour that we created this world. And so, you know, after I've been playing it, and I think about this game a lot, and the world building of it was so much fun. I always think about how useful a tool it would be for creators, escape rooms, anybody who's designing maybe immersive theater, writing a book, whatever it is. You know what I mean? Like if you're stuck on something, I feel like this is a really good tool for helping you kind of focus your energies on what to do. I say this a lot, even on our podcast, that like my biggest nightmare is just being given a completely open sandbox to play in, because I get so overwhelmed with possibilities. And with this, it, you know, the steps that he takes us through really gives you like a set of like a framework and rules to really kind of like focus down, and you know, and once you've locked down a couple core concepts, then we work within that, and we kind of go slow like smaller and smaller, right? Is that?
Yeah, I think that's, everything builds on what's already been decided, right? You kind of decide as you go, and whatever you do next builds on what you already created.
Before we get into it, you had a whole, like, I think I asked you this before about the name Arium, and I thought you guys had a really cool reason behind calling it Arium. Do you want to talk about that a little bit?
Yeah. Let me tell you the dull, boring version. I'm just kidding. Hopefully this is a good story. So we were sitting down at a table, myself and two of the other main creators of the game, Natasha Ents and Drew Gherkin, and we had just got done doing a playtest of the game. And we said, well, you know what we need to do now? We need to figure out a better name, because our name at the time for the game was called, we called it the Sticky Note RPG, which really just doesn't, you know, it doesn't sound that interesting, right? It's like, you know, I have a bunch of these at my desk, and now I'm going to have an RPG with something to do with it, right? It didn't make a lot of sense. So we used sort of the system that we created for the game to name the game. And so we put down a bunch of different ideas, and we iterated on them, and we talked about them, and we, you know, talked about how could we combine or merge, and then we voted, and we came up with Arium. And the reason we came up with it is because initially, you know, we were saying things like, well, what about Creation Arium, or, you know, World Arium, or I don't know, something. Could be anything. And we were like, well, why do we keep trying to put Arium on the end of everything? And we looked it up. It's a Latin root, and it means a container of something, right? So it's like on aquarium and planetarium and things like that, right? And we're like, well, we're going to make a container for possibility. Our game is called Arium, right? So that's what we did.
I love that so much. Just a container for possibilities.
That's awesome. And I can finally come off of mute because the ice cream truck that has been camped out in front of my home for the last hour is finally gone. The song was driving me crazy, and I was worried it was bleeding through onto this.
I think we need an ice cream truck in our world.
Oh God, David's gonna lose his mind. Okay,
the Lovecraftian ice cream truck.
No, I didn't mean to interrupt. We can go back to. I'm gonna switch back to the slide.
Yeah, I love the way you came up with that name, by the way.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah. I love that. Okay, so it is a 2-part, and the game is 2 parts, right?
Yeah. Well, two that have been published so far.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So Arium Create is the first part, and that's what we're going to go through today as a group. And if you want, you could go through those slides really quick, and we could just talk really high level about the things we're going to hit.
Okay.
So that process, we mentioned it kind of, you know, you go more specific from less specific to more specific, right? And so our least specific thing that we want to talk about is called lacunae. And we like shamelessly, and I say shamelessly, but I mean somewhat shamefully because I bring it up. every once in a while, we stole this idea. We stole it from Christopher Gray Games' Great American Novel RPG, right? Because part of his concept for Lacuni for that game was that he wanted to leave out something. He felt like any story told by a great American novelist is omitting something. They're leaving something out in order to make the story more compelling and interesting. And that's where we took that idea from. And so that's what our goal is with Lacuni, is we're going to leave things out because we want those things not to exist in the story, because sometimes it's not about what is there, it's about what isn't there, right? And so you go through that step, and we did that together, I think, with our group too, Peih-Gee, when we did it. And I don't remember if we left anything specific out, but we also use it as kind of a safety tools concept. And that, if you play a lot of RPGs, like I play a lot of different RPGs, safety tools can be nice because, you know, there might be things that could come up. It's a collaborative process, and people are telling a story together, or they're creating a world together. And we just want to avoid things that might trigger people or things like that. So you get it out on the table in the front and say, we're not going to do these things. We won't talk about, you know.
I don't want guns. I don't want any guns in mine.
Yeah,
whatever.
Maybe you don't want guns. Exactly, right? So there may be things that you just flat out don't want. And so let's get those out there. And then also those things that could help you tell a more compelling story, right?
Right.
So the second step the first step, because that's step 0. The first step is the universal step, and you just go through and you're going to talk about really broad things like genre or tone, right? Like, do you want it to be a dark and gloomy type of thing, or do you want it to be uplifting and lighthearted, or what, you know, those kind of ideas. Yeah. And we bring into it a concept called creation tokens at that point too, but we'll get to that.
Okay.
Let's look at the next couple really quick.
Yeah. Okay. Steps 2 to 3.
Yeah. So on these ones, we're just going to get more specific, as I mentioned. You're going to get into the big picture zone, this is kind of anything that isn't really a specific cultural or organizational thing. It isn't a person. It isn't a place. It isn't, you know, an item or anything like that. This is everything that sits between that super general, universal kind of idea and those more specific things that could actually, oftentimes, you know, you could either point to it on a map, or it would make sense that they would have their own branding, or, you know, something like that. So in this case, I mean, it could be countries or continents or wars, or it could be, how does magic work in this world if there's magic? How does the technology work, or what kind of technology do they have, and things like that. Okay. So that's kind of where that comes in.
I just want to say hi. Tech in chat. Tech FX says, "Love me some Arium."
Hey.
Okay, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. I just wanted to give chat a shout out.
Absolutely. That's awesome. And so then you go into the culture and organizations part, and that's where you start talking about, you know, what do people believe? What heritages do they come from? What sort of, you know, schools are there, or are there any secret groups or events in the past that really shape what's going on today in this world? Things like that.
Okay, I'll go on to the next slide.
Yeah, and then on this last 3, we get into very specifics, right? And we'll continue to drill down into landmarks, right? So if you mentioned an organization in the previous section, right? Maybe that organization has a building or a complex or something, right? Where they operate. And so this is where you would talk about that a little bit and just give a little bit more detail. We're always just adding a little bit more detail.
Yeah.
And I mentioned earlier that, you know, we originally called it the sticky note RPG because when you play this game in person, you do play it with sticky notes. And the idea is you're going to fit as much information as you can on one sticky note and nothing else. And so you're going to keep things compressed, right? You don't want to get too detailed because you want to leave room for there to be more to build on top of whatever concept it is that you have.
Celia IndieCade Gamer Girl says, this is like an improv theater game.
Yeah, a little bit.
Little yes and.
Yeah, definitely some yes and. Definitely some yes and. And so then you'd go on to talk about people, right? And we're going to invent people who live here and what they care about and what they do. It might involve proper names. It might not, right? It might involve what they look like. It might not. It could be as simple as I'm just going to throw down a name and maybe that's it, right? But people add to that as you go, and it gets interesting. And then the last step is goodies, and these are narratively relevant items in this world, right? And these steps, you're creating things in Arium Create that you can actually pick up and use and play with when you're in Arium Discover.
Yeah, so in like the world that we made, that's where like the vats of dye that are magical, and that's how you make magic. Like that's where these came from, was after we had narrowed down that okay, we're in a magical world with, you know, knitting and weaving and all of that, and then because we had those things, that way we kind of came up with the idea of like how some of this stuff worked and what are the items that powered these magics or whatever. Yeah. Awesome.
And so that's essentially Create. Create has that, and it also has some rules for how do you pick up the things that you want to be yours when you go, you know, to role play with this stuff. And so there's some rules around that. And then we also have so the second book is Discover, which, as I mentioned before, is sort of streamlined role-playing rules. It's if you've played something like Dungeons and Dragons, I would compare it to Dungeons and Dragons in that it is easier than Dungeons and Dragons.
Less rules?
Less rules. Yeah, a little more streamlined. And then it also allows, I think, you can take the rules from Dungeons and Dragons and you can adapt them to a lot of different things. It doesn't have to be the setting of Dungeons and Dragons, but it takes a lot of work to do that, I feel like. It can take work on the part of, you know, the GM who's playing the game, or sometimes designers will come up with something in advance that you can take and it'll help you kind of adapt those rules to whatever. This game is built from the ground up with the concept of it's easy to adapt it, right? To different things. That's the idea.
And you only need, and this one you only uses like 6-sided die.
That's right. Yeah, just 6-sided dice.
That's
so
all,
you don't have to have 20s and 12s.
I have my whole bathtub of rubber ducky dice right here. I only need the 6-sided ones.
Those are fun.
David was ready to start playing.
Awesome. Yeah, and then we have a third book that will eventually come out. These first two are already out and available, but the third book will eventually come out, which is, well, I'm not going to tell you too much about it, but the name is Arium Evolve.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
cool.
Interested to see how that works. All right, so David, did you have any thoughts on this? Did you want to jump into?
I'm super excited to do this. I am like just ready to dive in.
Okay, why don't we will actually do a create session right here live, so you guys can kind of see how it works, and then afterwards, after David sees how it works, we can kind of talk about it a little bit more. Sound good?
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay, let me switch over to that. Give me 1 sec. Let me just readjust how. Okay, so we use Trello for this instead of sticky notes, right?
Mm-hmm.
I actually was introduced to Trello when I played this with you guys, and I really like how it works. Okay.
It's a good tool, I think.
Is that readable? Is that big enough for you guys to read? Okay. Awesome.
I think folks should be able to read it, hopefully.
Yep. All right.
All right. So I mentioned the steps. We sort of walked through them, and now we're going to talk about them together as a group a little bit. So every one of these steps, we're going to go through 3 phases. Those phases are creating ideas, ideating, we'll call it. The second one is collaborating, and then the third one is voting. So this is a very democratic process of collaboration and voting. So we've already put down a few items in our Lacuni that we just, thought, let's keep this stuff in here. And David added one too, which I love the one that you added, David, which was no dungeons and no dragons, which will be fun, right? That'll definitely keep us.
I just, I feel like in the spirit of doing something different, let's actually do something different.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. So we will definitely be doing something different. So these are the things we have to keep in mind as we continue on to the next steps. I'll just take one last opportunity. Do either of you have any other lacunae that you would like to add?
No,
Um,
that works with
Okay,
me.
we're good with these.
yeah,
All right.
I think I'm good with this.
So this is the one step where we're not really going to vote. These things are in, right? That whatever gets decided for lacunae is what's decided.
Right.
So then we'll go on to universal. So let's do that. So for universal, and I will set a timer where these will all be timed when we're creating the ideas. That part is that's what makes it kind of fun. I mean, I think anyway.
Yeah.
You got to have a little bit of that pressure, but also we don't want the ideas to become too vast and too perfect, right? We want small ideas that will give us a place to start, and then we'll talk about them, collaborate on them, and then vote.
Okay.
So for universal, I'd say I'm just going to give us, I think I want to give us 1 minute. I'm going to time us for 1 minute.
A minute?
Yeah, 1 minute.
I challenge accepted.
Yeah.
Just give us a quick example of what, like, should a universal idea kind of be, just so I know.
Sure. Let me give you an example of one that you can't use because we already said we aren't using it. You could say a sword and sorcery, dragon hunt, right? Something like that would be out of what we're going to do for this because it is part of our lacunae that we're avoiding. Right. So you could say something like that, but you could say other things. It can be as simple or as complicated as you like. Just keep in mind, we don't want to list things that would show up in the later steps. So you could say, I want to play sci-fi. You could say sci-fi. That's totally fine.
Okay.
Right. You could also say, well, I want to do a far future sci-fi where everybody has faster than light travel and, there are these ships that are colonizing across across all the planets in the galaxy, and humans are everywhere. You could say that. That'd be okay, right? So just sort of the less specific and the more specific versions, I think they're both fine, but that's sort of the concept for universal. So are you ready for me to start a timer?
Oh, God. Okay, sure.
Yeah? Okay, I'm going to set one for 1 minute. Doesn't give us much time. I'm going to put some ideas in too, so ready?
Yeah.
Okay, go.
God, I don't know. And we just put in as many ideas as we want, right? I'm like...
About 10 seconds left.
Oh my God.
Okay, that's time. If you're still finishing one, go ahead and finish it.
I'm just finishing one.
That is just fine. And then we'll go through the list here together. I'm going to start at the top. So we have corporations are eating people's souls. We have grungy gangs fighting for turf. We have farmers fighting over crop prices. So as I read these, if you hear two of them that sound like real similar, like maybe this is just like the one you wrote, then call it out, and we'll probably just merge them into one. Okay. Toy Story, We're Toys, A Child Is God.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Okay.
We have Bright Uplifting World with an Ominous Undertone. That's always good. We have Forests and Woodlands. We have Everyone Has a Spirit Animal Companion. That's fun. We have Fairy Clans, and we have Technology is Dying. Okay.
Did we do this right? Is this
I think we did it okay.
okay?
I think this is good. So let's talk about these, and just really quick, I'm going to go through them one more time. And I think if you have some of these, maybe they aren't the same, but maybe they would be way more awesome together than they are apart, if that makes sense. If you
Like-
think that's true, then call it out, and let's talk about that. And if the two people who created those items agree, then we'll merge them into one, and it makes one thing to vote for, which kind of makes the voting easier. But also, it could make things a little more interesting.
Okay, so I had fairy clans, which I feel like probably belongs in forests and woodlands. I'm not sure, like, and that doesn't have to be a thing. That was just like the first thing that popped in my head, so I just wrote it down. You know, it doesn't mean that I'm like really dying to play this. It just is there, but they probably could be combined.
Yeah, I think that makes sense. Let's see. So it looks like you wrote both of those, Peih-Gee. So do you want to combine them? I think that makes sense.
Yes, sure. So
Okay.
I can. Do I delete one?
Yeah, you can do that.
Oh, whoops. I don't. How do I delete it?
Here. I got you.
Okay. Is it edit labels? Oh, here. I can. Oh.
So I choose that.
I'm just combining two of my own right now because
Okay.
we're better
Like
together.
Okay.
Oh, there you go.
I'm gonna say I kind of want those fairy clans to be gangs fighting for turf. I don't know. What do you think about that?
I feel like we can make
I'm
this
into it.
all fit. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. What if the fairy clans are corporations? What if it's fairy corporations?
Fairy corporations eating people's souls.
Eating people's souls.
I'm good with that too. If you want to do that, we can do that.
Right.
Fairy, so I'll say fairy corpse eating people's souls. Okay.
So it doesn't have to be forests and woodlands, I guess.
I mean, it can be.
It still could be.
You can
Okay.
have a skyscraper and a redwood, right? No problem.
That's yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
So it looks like Toy Story and Bright Uplifting World with Ominous Undertone kind of went together. Okay. Any other? I mean, we can do this for as long or as short as you like. I think we don't want to do it too long because we're going to try and make it through most everything.
Yeah,
I would kind of like the spirit animal also in this fairy corporation world. Is that what we're kind of doing? Are we kind of trying to pick things that we like and try to make them fit into one thing, or?
Well, I mean, I think if you look at it and say, are they better together than they are apart, then that's probably true. I think you could have a spirit animal companion with the Toy Story idea too, potentially, right?
Okay, so we could leave
I
them.
think there's
Okay.
I think there's some possibility there, and plus this gives us 6, which will mean everybody will get 2 votes. And so to vote, you just pull your little icon from the top of the screen that nobody else can see down onto the 2 things that you like the most.
Okay.
So I'll just pop that one there.
Only
Okay.
2.
Only
No.
2, yeah.
Okay.
No, I'm gonna make it hard.
Um,
Only 2.
Do I want dying technology or do I want animal companions? Ugh! All right.
What do you think, David?
This feels like a Survivor thing where like you like,
everyone.
am I gonna throw my vote away or am I gonna?
I feel like I'm voting for technology is dying just because I feel like removing a little complexity
Yeah, that
is
makes
more
sense.
interesting to me than adding complexity.
So I just moved the ones that got votes to the top. So it looks like we're all agreed. We like the forests and woodlands. fairy corpse eating people's cells. I think that's fun. And then Technology is Dying also has 2 votes. I think I would probably put those 2 in for sure.
Okay.
On the third one, with the Animal Spirit Companion, this might be a good opportunity to introduce creation tokens, and then we can talk about them. Is that okay with you, BG?
Yeah.
Do you think we should just put it in?
No, I can use if I really want it in, I can use the creation token, and we'll explain what those are.
Okay, great. So everyone has 3 creation tokens when they start this, and there are a couple of things you can use them for. One of them is to yes and some idea that's already been kind of brought in, right? And so if you looked at Technology is Dying, you could say, well, I want technology to be dying because, right, reason X, Y, or Z, right? Maybe, silicon rots in the presence of magic. Who knows, right? We don't know exactly what that would be, but maybe someone has that idea and they really want it, and they could spend one of their creation tokens to modify and add something to an existing item. Another thing you can do is if you voted for something that, or even if you didn't vote for it, that you liked and you really want it, then you can use a creation token to add that as well. So some options there. And you can do that at any time, but this is kind of at the end of each step is really the ideal time to do it, so that people can know that they should still build on that thing starting in the next step.
Okay. So I have an idea about, like, the technology is dying because the fairies are stealing technology to power their magic. And so, like, the more they can steal technology, the more technology dies, the more powerful they become. Would that be something like an idea that I would introduce in big picture, though?
I think you can. Yeah. Okay. I don't think you have to introduce it here.
Okay. Then I will not save my creation token.
Yeah.
Do I want spirit animals, though?
Yeah, it's a good question.
All right. I am going to just say yes.
Yeah?
Yeah, I'll use a creation token there. Why not?
Okay, so we'll say that one's in as well, and I didn't put any labels on anything, but I can do it real quick here, just so we know. This is one way to do it. If you're playing with sticky notes at a table, you just throw the other ones away.
Okay.
Okay, so we'll keep those. Let's move on to step 2, should we?
Yeah.
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. So big picture is, this is the backdrop and scope of the story. This is, what's this world look like? Is there, I'm trying to come up with ideas that aren't specific to this because I don't want to influence you. But, does it take place on the moon, right? Or, is it, what kind of technology is there that's dying? How advanced was it, right? Is there magic? What's that look like, right? And some of those ideas. But also, just kind of, are there any warring factions or different ideas like that? I mean, if these corps are doing things that we don't like, then is there a group in opposition to them? And maybe that comes in culture and organizations, but maybe, there's some kind of resistance group fighting, and then you detail it further when you get to culture and organizations. So some thoughts. For this one, I'll give you just a little bit more time because it can be a little harder to, I think, put in great ideas for big picture. So I'm going to do 2 whole minutes. That sound good?
Okay, I'm starting now.
Okay, go. about 40 seconds left. Okay, that's time. If you're still finishing one, go ahead and finish.
Good.
All right. Let's go through and read these. So remember, if there is one here that you feel like is, a duplicate, just call it out. We'll get it merged up with another one. If it's just better with something else together, then call that out too, and we'll do that. We want the awesomest things together. So, all right. Technology is dying because the magic is strangling it. The corporations, higher ups, know why, and no one else does.
Oh, that's interesting.
Secret. Like that. We've got soul consumption used to be something people did on occasion. Now they do it all the time. Okay. That's good. We've got
no longer a
phone.
sometimes food.
No longer a sometimes food. All the time. Mobile phones are extremely unreliable. We have the different corporations are fighting each other for control. We have people fighting against the corporations live in caves. We have technology stolen, manifests their animals. So maybe it'll act like a communication device or a way to travel. Okay. We've got their magic is linked to their spirit animals. Good. And then we've got technology is dying because fairies are stealing it to power their magic. That one sounds like it might be maybe this one and that one maybe go together. Let's talk about that.
Yep.
And then there is a world-spanning forest.
Okay.
I'll say I've been picturing the technology less in terms of modern, but more in like a steampunk way. That was just what was popping into my head because
Okay.
I don't know, modern technology is not. Doesn't interest me as much.
Okay. I mean, I was imagining as basically our modern world now, as we know it, is dying, and there are secretly, and it's dying because fairies have been stealing our tech and using it to power magic.
Well, let's find the space of awesome between those two ideas.
Sorry, real quick for chat, is it hard? I can actually zoom in more, and then can I scroll? Like, I don't think, I'll have to actually physically move it, because I don't, let's see if I can scroll, you know what?
It's readable at that size for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay. I will actually just make my webpage smaller, and that way I think it'll give me...
Yeah, if you make your browser window a little smaller, then it'll make that scroll.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There we go.
There you go.
Okay.
Cool. Well, let's talk through these. So, which of them would be more awesome together? I do kind of think the technology is dying because magic is strangling it, and the corporations higher ups know why no one else does, and technology is dying because fairies are stealing it to power their magic. We said the corporations are run by fairies.
Yep.
So I think that makes sense to put those together.
Yep, and because they are stealing it, and that is the reason why nobody else knows that.
So is the magic then technology? Because because if technology is being stolen to be used by magic, I'm just trying to understand the mechanics. How does that? What are we doing with that?
I don't know. Just in my brain, like it like it starts not technology just starts not working. So like my car just starts dying in the middle of the street, or my cell phone stops working, and it's because I sent like, I don't know, my spirit cat to go capture it, and it just zoop, like, I don't know, sucked it up, and now it's power, like it's become some type of nebulous magical energy, and our technology is still slowly like sputtering out, you know, like if somebody's cell phone dies or whatever it is.
Or maybe it's just maybe it's like Dresden Files. Have either of you read any?
I
Dresden
have
Files?
read Dresden
not.
Files, yes.
So it could be kind of like that, where magic is just it makes technology ridiculously unreliable wherever there's magic, and it doesn't necessarily mean that it's taking the tech to sort of power the magic, but it just works that way, right?
Yeah. At least for me, there's something really interesting about the magic interfering with more than the technology being farmed for as a resource, I guess. I don't know.
Okay, but is the technology is dying? So then, how do you picture it dying?
I guess maybe more people are doing magic, and so it is making it really hard. Like people don't use technology because it just isn't great.
It's just
Chat can and should contribute to this brainstorm session, by the way, for sure.
Absolutely. Yeah, and I'll keep track of that as well if people want to put ideas in when we're doing the idea creation part. Yeah.
that makes sense to me. People are just abandoning it because it's becoming less reliable, and maybe magic is more reliable, and that's why tech is dying. Is that kind of what you're thinking?
Yeah, one is kind of, it's like an evolutionary process, like one is more reliable than the other, and then the act of doing that, it's sort of like the automobile to the bicycle, like people just started to use it more.
Okay, so I'm going to add magic makes tech less reliable to the end of that one on the top, and I think I'll archive the one on the bottom if we're okay with that.
Yep.
All right, let's keep looking. So what else do we have? So mobile phones would be extremely unreliable in a steampunk world, I think that would be definitely true. But that's a thing to think about. So I kind of think that the caves and the world spanning forest thing might go well together. I actually did both of those, so I'm okay with that. I'm
into that.
Okay. I
tossed out the soul consumption. Used to be an occasional thing, and now it's something people do all the time. I mean, maybe souls are what magic is run on.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Right. Rather than so now we have moved from farming tech to farming souls. That is to power the magic. I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
So are we making a distinction that there are people as in human people, and then fairies as in a type of supernatural being, and they are eating our like human souls?
Or maybe everyone's fairies. I don't know.
Maybe, yeah.
That's what I was asking. Because when it says like people, in there where it says people fighting against the corporations, is that fairy people or human people?
I'm thinking fairy people.
Yeah.
Okay. That's why I just wanted to check, right? Are we all fairies, or are we making a distinction between the two?
I think it's easier to make us all fairies than it is to go and have humans and fairies and having some kind and ending up
interspecies war.
Yeah, which may come into conflict with our lacunae.
Okay. Yep. That's fair. So let's okay. So it is just like the rebel fairies or something, the underground movement, the anti.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. The people who are the prime target for soul use, apparently.
Okay. So we've got also here, I put down different corporations are fighting each other for control, which can still, I mean, it may be easier to just have one big conglomerate like that everybody's fighting against, or is there a backdrop of these different corporations are fighting against each other, and then there's still also rebels that are just anti-corporations in general?
I mean, it depends on how we get them voted, I suppose, right? Unless we want to find a way to collaborate and put those two ideas together before we vote.
Okay. Yeah.
I feel like in a lot of ways there's some really good distinct items here, and maybe voting might just be our best next step.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Well, let's see. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I'm going to give everyone 3 votes.
All right. Oh, we've moved on to voting. Okay.
Yeah, let's vote.
All right. This, yes. I do like that. Oh no, I only have one more.
Technology man.
It's a tough one to vote.
I mean, I like that the people living in caves, but I feel like I can just work that into like landmarks or the different corporations. Do I want them fighting? Are we fighting? All right, I've made peace with my decisions.
I've cast my vote.
Okay, I have 2. So it looks like we have one that's a for sure, right? We all like the technology is dying because magic is strangling it. That one's great. And then we have 3 more that all have 2 votes. So I'd say those would probably all be canon for this world as well, right?
That's fine by me.
There we go.
Cool. I think there's some interesting possibilities here, like the magic linked to the spirit animal. So maybe you can't steal a soul without a spirit animal or something, right?
Uh-huh.
I think that could be fun. And then we have the different corporations fighting each other for control. I really like that. Soul consumption. Yeah, we're doing that. Lots of that. Lots of soul consumption. All right. Cool. Well, let's go on to step 3. So this is culture and organizations. And what we're going to do here, this is very specific. Now, this one, again, just a callback to our Lacuni, right? Be careful with culture because that can be misconstrued pretty easily. So just want to be cautious that we don't violate any of our Lacuni. But so culture and organizations, again, it can be, like secret groups, or it can be, clubs, or it can be schools, or it could be heritages, or some past event that shapes the current time, right? All those types of things go into culture and organizations. And we're going pretty fast here, so I'm going to say 1 minute, I think.
Okay.
This one. So toss down some ideas and let's go. I'll let my timer go off. Go ahead and finish if you're still finishing
Oh
one.
man, this was tough. I feel like this is particularly kind of, I don't know.
Yeah, some steps, and that's kind of the nice thing about this is, not everyone, like I don't always have great ideas for certain steps, right? And I don't have to, because there'll be other people in the group that will.
Yeah.
And that's part of what makes it fun, I think. And you're still going to get to vote, so that's part of it as well, right? And it may be that I come up with just a little tidbit of an idea that is really cool, but didn't have maybe enough to sort of get voted through on its own. Well, let's see if we can combine that with something else to make it even more awesome, and then it gets through, right?
Right. Okay.
So that's kind of the idea. It's not, nobody has to have perfect ideas in any part of this process. That isn't, I mean, the game is designed to avoid that, actually. So, all right. So we've got some ideas for culture and organizations. Let's go through them. Remember, if you think it should be merged, just say the word, and we'll talk about that. All right. So Soul Savers, an org dedicated to stopping the use of magic.
That fits pretty well with one of the ones that I wrote, which was technology has a religion.
That totally checks out. I agree. Yeah. Is you okay if I just say this is the technology religion?
Yep.
Okay, that makes sense. So we also have here that I wrote down that the corporations are a giant cult that brainwash people. If that somehow fits in with that, I don't know.
Maybe. Let's keep going through the list. I think yes.
Okay.
I think that's definitely a thing. I don't know if they go together. They might be like opposed a little bit, but
right. Yeah.
And maybe that's perfect. Let's do the next one. So we've got the Once and Future Tech, a group that believes the cycle will be reversed and tech will become more powerful.
Okay.
That sounds like that could be the message from the Soul Savers.
It sort of does, huh?
Yeah.
You know what? I'll just put that into the Soul Savers.
It does feel like a canon precept or something.
There we go. And archive that.
It actually feels reasonably fleshed out.
Yeah. Okay. Let's go to culture and organizations some more. We've got magic used to be a decadent thing that the wealthy enjoyed. The corporations brought it to everyone. I love that.
Oh, that's,
okay.
Yeah. Celia says at this point, I feel like the world has kind of started building itself, which is it's really amazing how this process works.
I mean, that also works well with that everyone has a totem that their power is stored in. If you change power to soul, maybe the souls aren't like a one-time consumption thing. Maybe it's something that gets spent over time.
Okay.
It's like a currency of sorts, or
like whenever you're using magic, you're actually using a bit of your soul that you can't get back, and so maybe that contributes to the way that your personality will evolve and morph or degrade over the course of using the magic. It comes with a price, which to me is actually one of the challenges that things that kind of bothers me with magic is that there's never really a price for it. It just always.
That's fair. That's totally power always. At what price though? There's always a price.
Exactly. But in most in most of the tabletop role-playing games and video games I've ever played, there really isn't.
You're just using it willy-nilly. That's, yeah. It just magically replenishes.
Yeah.
Your mana
Yeah.
magically
Yeah,
replenishes.
you're just force choking people all over the place.
Okay. Well, I like that. I mean, I think that's really cool.
So that was not something that was... But-
So it was here. So it's everyone has a totem and their power is stored in it. And instead of power, we want to say soul. Is
Yeah,
that...
okay, yep. I guess,
And-
and then maybe we could refine that in goodies, or maybe he could use a creation token to add that. Is that where a creation token would come into play if he wants to modify, like, the idea of having it kind of be a finite resource? Or,
yeah, I think so.
or that could be maybe refined in goodies.
Just random thought that this way, with this idea, the corporation can be literally soulless.
Well, they've stolen all the souls. Haven't they stolen all the souls? So they actually have
No,
all the...
because then we're consuming them. The use of the magic is consuming it. It's not so much stealing so much as it is using it as a resource.
You know what? If that, yeah, sure.
So here's a combination that I want to suggest, right? So I'm looking at the two at the bottom, right? We've got everyone has a totem and their power is stored in it. We've got everyone's souls are stored in the spirit animal. Why can't those be the same? Why can't the totem be like a physical representation that you carry around with you and it manifests into your spirit animal?
Okay,
And that stores the power.
okay.
What do you think? What do you think about
That
that?
works for me.
Okay.
My flying octopus totem, sure.
Yeah, exactly.
Floctopus.
Exactly.
Let's do that then. And I'll archive that one. Okay. So that gets us down to 4. We're not going to get very many votes. Okay. Let's see. Corporations, giant cult brainwashing people, magic used to be a decadent thing. Okay. All right. I think let's vote for 2. What do you
Okay.
think?
Easy.
Okay.
Easy.
By the way, Tech FX. I work in tech also.
Me too. I think that's how I'm voting.
David, the deciding vote.
I just want all of these in, so I'm actually moving, so I just force these to both have 2.
David,
go.
gonna splitting the vote.
I'm
perfect.
yeah.
No, that's great.
I'm gaming the system.
That's great. No, that's great.
The strategy.
You get all 3.
you
Strategy
I
involved.
wanted all 3 of them as well, so it works for me.
There you go. Properly prisoner's dilemma. This.
That's right. Okay. I think we've finished that steps. Let's go to landmarks. Landmarks are places you could point to on a street level map. It could be a building, it could be a bridge, it could be a canyon, it could be a statue. I mean, really anything. If it's as big as like the ring from Halo, it's not a landmark. That is like a small planet, right? So don't go that big, right? But yeah, I think that's it. Let's do a minute.
Okay. Oh my gosh. Oh geez.
I just realized we didn't really name any corporations in our organizations. I feel like that's a miss. Oh. There, quiet, BB-8. All right. Oh boy, that went really fast.
Oh God, I know Celia
I'm
goes.
still typing one.
I love that we were watching a stream of people brainstorming without speaking. Is this fast? This is riveting. I know we're a little losing because
Yeah.
it's fast. No, it's only for a minute at a time. I like the. Oh my gosh.
We are doing this a little bit compressed. Normally, you would give a little more time, and we probably would. Yeah, we would probably end up with more ideas because we'd have a little bit more time to put them on,
Yeah.
But we are doing it quick. So, landmarks. We've got, how many do we have? We have 6. So let's go through them. We have the Great Soul Server, the seat of the soul-saving religion. Yes. We have the Redwood, corporate headquarters of a top corp. Super specific. I wrote that.
I stole your idea and I put it down below, so you can just combine that all together.
Okay, good. Anti-magic districts where the population is violent toward magic users. Ooh, that's interesting.
I like that.
Okay. We've got the dead zone, the place where magic is so omnipresent that tech will not work at all. Yes. Giant redwood skyscraper. Okay. I think those two probably go. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Redwood.
I honestly just like all of these.
Okay. Archive that guy. And then we have the Stone Temple, heart of the mega corporation. So we've got maybe 2 competing mega corporations here,
Yeah, just if we just change the to A.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like
it could
that.
be like just.
Are you okay with that?
Yeah, absolutely. Cool. It's more because and then they would be the Stone Temple pilots. I was just thinking, like, what would it be? I guess they're soulless, so they have like it's like a big stone in the heart of the redwood. Like it's.
Very nice. All right.
Yeah.
I like nobody under 30 is going to understand this.
All right. Do we need to merge any of these? I kind of feel like they're good. Like,
I honestly, I'd rather not vote. I'd rather just say these are all landmarks.
oh, we have to vote.
I want them all to be there.
We can only pick 3. Well, we can combine. Look, we can either combine or David, you still have creation tokens, so
That's true.
you can split the votes again, and then that'll make 3 of them.
We're gonna vote for 2. We'll vote for 2 this time. So just pick your 2 favorite. Let's see what happens.
I mean, I feel like the anti-mage districts and the dead zone are kind of like one idea.
Mm-hmm.
They're definitely 2 sides of the same coin.
That's what right? Should we combine those?
All right.
Oh man.
I have voted.
I don't.
All right. So I'll do this, and then I will.
Let's pull the top ones up here.
Hold on, I'm moving things around so that I can game this better.
So trying to game the system.
And then I'll use my I'll use 2 of my tokens on the remaining 2 here. I really want these places. I want them to exist. I want them to exist.
Okay. All right.
I like I like having the map. I like for me that's really helpful for.
Yeah, I like maps a lot. There's actually a couple of cool world building type games that focus on maps, which I am a big fan of. I think they're really cool. I couldn't make that game though. I had to make this game. So, cool. All right. Well, that's good for landmarks. So we got all of them. Let's move on to people. So we'll do, how are we doing on time?
I think we have probably we do have let's say 20 minutes, 25, 20 minutes to finish this, but 20 minutes left overall. So if we could do this in 10 and then have 10 minutes to discuss, that would be perfect.
Let's do 2 minutes for people and we'll do 1 for goodies.
Okay.
Just do it like that. I think that'll be good.
Okay.
So give you a little bit more time to put some characters into this place.
Okay.
Let's go ahead and start.
People. Oh my goodness. This is where we got some really bizarre characters the last time we played, if I recall correctly.
About 20 seconds left.
Spent all my time writing 1.
All right, if you're finishing one, go ahead and finish it.
Yeah, 1 second.
All right. This one, I kind of panicked and just started writing nonsense. But I feel like the type of nonsense that somehow maybe works.
Okay, I got my second one in.
Okay, I do too. All right. All right, here we go. Let's start at the top. So we've got the artifice and artificial tech being brought to life by magic. No one understands why it can exist. Its existence is a problem for almost everyone.
Wow, that is very fleshed out. Extreme.
I'm glad it was. I spent 3/4 of my time on it.
I love it. I love it. We've got Bottle Trisha, totem animal bottlenose dolphin, lives only near the sea. We have Fei Jim. That was a really good one that I wrote. We have Beatty Bulgenose, founder of a corp.
A lot of dolphins.
Yeah.
What can I say?
It's so long, and thanks for all the fish.
Yeah, I guess so. We have Tamp the Techie, loves tech, and you can't convince him otherwise. We have a fairy that has their soul intact and no power. Ooh. We have a mushroom person that is a type of oracle. We have Magus support, bureaucrats who troubleshoot spells. Yes. We have the pilot. I knew we were going to have the pilot. The head of the mega corporation of the Stone Temple.
Yeah.
Mega corporation, obviously. And then we have a character that creates crazy art installations from found objects, and occasionally magic things come flying out. So, all right, I'm going to stop here for a second. So some of these ideas have names, some of them don't have names. That's often a good place to look to combine when it comes to people, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So do you like the names for any of these people, or the concepts that didn't have names? Any of those make sense to combine?
Um, a tech being brought to life by magic. I like that by itself. Tamp the Techie.
Yeah.
I really like my crazy art installation guy. I don't know why, and I'm like, can I combine that with? Can I
That
combine
sounds
that?
like Fei Jim to me.
Is that Fei Jim?
It could be.
I think that's Fei Jim.
Could that also be the mushroom person? That is a type of oracle.
Mm-hmm.
I
Yeah.
feel like that's
Yeah.
that to me. That's like
Yeah,
you go
that
in
works.
there, you want.
Fei Jim, the mushroom oracle who creates crazy art installations from found objects.
You
I'm
wander
into
around
it.
his art installation, and it's like a Rorschach test, right? It's
Yeah.
like what you see is the oracle that.
And the magic that's shooting off are actually spores.
Yeah. That's the spore, and you step into it, and that's where you get your vision from his art installations, and that's you have to interpret whatever this art installation is to
What
fit.
else was there about the mushroom person? They are
An oracle.
an oracle.
Yeah.
So
An
that's what I was
oracle.
thinking. That like, say it's the art installation, the spore flies off, you step inside, you're in your own little art installation, and you just have
Got
to
it.
interpret it. It's that's the
Got
vision from the oracle.
Okay. I'm just going to archive those other two.
I like this character.
I like Fei Jim.
Yeah, Fei Jim is good people. All right. Okay. We had a couple of founders. We've got the pilot, and we've got Beatty, Bulge Nose. Let's see.
I mean, the pilot could be the
Alright.
a title, right? It doesn't have to be the name. So
That's true. So they could go together.
yeah.
Or we could bring in some of the information for one of these people, like maybe one of them is the fairy that has their soul intact with no power, or maybe one of them is, rose up from magic support.
You know
Right.
what? That makes a lot of sense to me. That maybe he didn't want to spend his own soul, and that's why he's out farming everyone else's soul. Throwing that out there.
Do we want to put that on the pilot?
Yeah, I'm into it.
That works. I was just thinking of the pilot as just literally just the title. I just wanted to make sure that was in there to go with our stone temple.
Yeah.
So if that's a title, that could be. And then the fairy that has their soul intact with no power is also, again, not a named character. It's just
Yeah. So I'm going to combine those two as that's one person.
okay.
I think that'll be good. All right. Do we have any others that we want to combine? Do we feel like this is a pretty good list?
I think that's a good list.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I think we'll do 3 votes.
Okay. Gosh. I like the idea of the Magi support, but I really just also like Tamp the Techie just sounds like a fun little NPC. Oh my gosh. David, are you gonna game the system again? Should I game the system?
I'll game the system with you. All things are better through collaboration.
That's right.
Um,
All right.
should I move? Oh, okay. You've left.
Tamp the
Fade.
Tech. Yep.
There we
yep.
go.
Where did the vote on the Magi support go?
I have used all 3 though, so like,
Oh,
how is there one like?
One of you needs to leave your vote on Fei Jim or the pilot. or I mean, sorry, not one of you, but David, you need to, and then PG can vote for Magi support if that's what you want to do.
David left Peih-Gee.
Yeah, I left Peih-Gee.
Oh, he did.
How are we at an odd number?
No, you have to leave Peih-Gee.
Me?
No, never mind. Oh yeah, we get 9 votes.
That's true. Yeah, okay.
Okay.
The math stream.
So our top, math stream. We have learned the maths today. Thank you. All right. So we ended up with Peih-Gee, the pilot, the artifice, Tamp the techie, and So if we were running this as an RPG, right, and we were going to play some games, then the person who's GMing, right, and that's a game master. That's the person who kind of sort of sets the stage for the story and kind of runs with plot ideas and presents challenges, right, and things like that. Would probably look at this and say, well, I think there's room for Magi support, right, in this world, and they would probably find a way, because I think it adds a lot of flavor, right, and something that could be a lot of fun. So anyway, I think it would probably make it, but based on how we voted, it would kind of be up to them.
Okay.
If they were going to play.
I'm super into the idea of magical bureaucrats.
Yeah. No, that'll be that's
just proper representation of the banality of evil.
Yeah. Let's do goodies. So for 1 minute.
We have about 10 minutes left, 12 minutes left on the whole stream, so we'll try and go through goodies quickly so we can do a wrap up.
1 minute for goodies.
Starting now. Go.
They should be narratively important. So if you put a sock in here, that sock is narratively important.
Oh,
that's all I'm saying.
So so what about like the totem? If that's already been defined, does it get refined more here? Like how it works?
I mean, if you have specific totems that you want to call out.
I see.
These are individual items. I saw you put it in right before I finished typing it, but
no, stop clicking.
All right.
Hold
on. And in the interest of time, I think we'll just vote this time.
Okay.
So vote for 2.
Oh no.
So we have snails that we ride on, mushrooms that can temporarily give you magical powers. Oh, I'm voting for that. Stick from the red wood, Soul Savers user manual Bible, and we have 2 flying octopuses. So only vote for one of them. I'll just remove this one. There we go.
Oh my God, do I want to fly on an octopus? Well, that's a totem though.
But that gives you then the flying octopus, right?
Yeah.
Do I want to fly on an octopus or ride on a snail?
The only correct answer is yes. You want to fly on an octopus. Everybody wants to fly on an octopus.
They really do.
All right. Okay, fair enough.
So there are our narratively relevant items. Let's do a naming exercise. So chat, help us out. We need to name this thing. This world that we just created here. So we're going to do a few ideas for names. We'll do a timer again because we just want to get through it quick. So for 1 minute, any name ideas that you have, if you're putting them in chat, I will add them into this section. But go ahead and write down ideas for names. Let's name it. Let's make it awesome.
Oh God.
Naming things is hard.
It is extremely difficult.
Is one of the hard things, yes.
We have soul snatchers.
I'll put that in. Oh my god, I'm the worst at this.
I have an idea, but I need to figure out how to spell it.
I'm whatever. I'm just putting stuff in, even if I think they're bad.
Oof. All right.
Yeah.
Let's see what we got we got Soul Snatchers, we got Sock Pest Plot Device, Head of Nomenclature. Yes, very nice. I'm gonna put that in just because. Oh wow, I can't type apparently.
Oh, I think she's saying that's one of her titles because she likes naming.
That's
I
actually
had
her
it on
title.
nomenclature.
Not...
Yeah. Well,
Oh,
Celia,
that's a
give
good
us a title.
Yeah, come on. All right. That leaves us with fairies and cephalopods. I like that. That's fun.
I had to learn how to spell cephalopods just there.
Yeah, so we have that one. We have Fey Core, I guess, because that's what that actually says. We have Soul Snatchers, the Totem of Destiny, the Floctopus Flyers, and Heart of Stone. So let's vote. Let's vote for 2.
Oh my goodness. All right.
And if we get a couple that are close, you might do a title subtitle potentially.
I do like Soul Snatchers too. I do like Soul Snatchers.
Yeah, I think I have to do that.
Floctopus Flyers.
So that could be the subtitle.
There
Fairies
we
and
go.
cephalopods, the Floctopus.
We did it.
I am totally.
Yeah.
That is good with me. I'm good with that.
We did a thing.
Yeah, we did it. So we made a world.
Yay!
Awesome.
We made a completely bananas world that
Yeah,
I kind
we
of
did.
actually want to play in. And by kind of, I mean really do want to play in.
That's the beauty of this world. That's like this whole system. That's what's so fun. And I was reading on your thing too. This is really, like on your website, you were saying that this is part of how you get also players very invested in the world, right? Because they had a hand in creating it. So now we are really looking forward to playing each week, which makes total sense to me. And I was talking to Will about like possibly if he has time or gumption, like maybe we could do like just either a one shot or I mean this could be a thing, but like we can play this. I think if we can, we could probably make that work.
Will, if you're willing, I'd love to have you come back and we could just take a look at the Discover side. Is it Discover?
Yeah, Discover.
Create and Discover.
Mm-hmm.
Do a Discover session where we play this and come up with some kind of crazy game.
So, David, what do you think? Since this is your first time,
this was a ton of fun. I mean, this is exactly the kind of insane world creation that I'm all about.
And what do you like? I feel like even just apart from playing this, but as a way to kind of like brainstorm for other games,
For sure.
other things. I feel like just to get ideas out there. I feel like this is a really, really cool system that you created.
I appreciate that.
I like that it takes a lot of pressure off. Like you don't need, it's not up to any one person to come up with the ideas. Yeah. It also kind of embraces, you embrace whatever idea is there, even if it's just like a really stupid idea. It's like at some point it's going to become a decent idea with enough people workshopping it. It's a really fun way to kind of cook up a world really quickly.
Yeah. Celia says, I love it. I want to play it. I want to use it in the classroom to teach imaginary world design. Celia is a professor of what I'm not sure what do you know what the class is that? Well, obviously she teaches a class in imaginary world design. I think game design in general. Well, we don't have that much time, but before we go, I just want to tell you guys, adepticarus.com is where you can buy Arium if you want to play it for yourselves. And Will, do you have any other projects that you want to talk about or promote?
So when we ran the Kickstarter for this, we really we overfunded what we had planned, and we unlocked a bunch of stretch goals, and, kind of did the Kickstarter thing. And so we're working on finishing up a bunch of those right now. We have a book called Arium Bridge, which is kind of gives a really nice transition, we think, from Arium to a couple of other games. D&D 5e is one, Fate is another one, and Tiny D6 is another one. So we'll have those. We also have, and this is probably the coolest thing, like we wouldn't have gotten this without the Kickstarter, but we have a book coming out called Arium Flash. Arium Flash is full of all of this really awesome set of just quick story flashes, is what we call them. And they look like, and I'm going to say the word because we're on a stream, and I don't think they're going to come after me on a stream, but I can't print it in the book. But they're like Mad Libs for Ariums, right? Mm-hmm. And so if somebody puts together a, sort of noir-inspired Arium, then they can go and they can plug in their landmarks and their people and their goodies and things like that into a story concept for a noir setting, right? And then they can take that and just run with it. So it gives people like a quick place to start with a story that sort of fits the type of story that makes sense for your world. And those were written by, I think we have over 20, I think we have maybe 24 different authors that wrote 5 of those story flashes each. And these are, it's a really diverse group, right? So we got brand new people who've mainly just GM'd and played RPGs before and hadn't done a lot of writing. So we gave some people a fresh shot. And it goes all the way up to, seasoned pros, and even, New York Times bestselling authors wrote some of them.
Oh,
so
cool.
It's pretty cool, and I'm really excited to get it out. It's in editing right now, so it's getting there. It's close.
That's super cool. Thank you so much. Before we end the stream, for those who are still sticking around, Reality Escape Con tickets are available now. They range from free to VIP, which is selling really, really well. We have a game jam. We have all sorts of, we have stuff for players, stuff for people who create stuff. I am currently testing out the swag that we are working on getting. We're working with a new vendor to get much higher quality stuff than we had last year. So yeah, that's all available. RealityEscapeCon.com. The dates are August 22nd and 23rd. I'll be there. Peih-Gee will be there. Hopefully all of you will be there.
Yep. And if you guys haven't checked it out already, David and I have a podcast, Reality Escape Pod. Make sure you check that out. Season 1 is finished. Season 2 will be starting in June, and we talk about all types of immersive gaming. So, yeah, thank you so much. And then, Will, if people want to find you, I have put your social media tag. It is here on the stream. You are at WLMUNN on Twitter and Instagram, right?
Yeah. Oh, and to answer the question in chat, Recon is purely digital this year. We didn't take any chances. So yeah, it's all on the interwebs. Everyone can come. It's going to be 2 days of just all sorts of madness. I cannot wait for it to come.
Yeah, so if you guys enjoyed watching us brainstorm, you want to do it yourselves, please check out Arium and get yourselves a copy. Will, thank you so much for joining us and running this for us today.
Seriously, this is so much fun. I'm feeling very inspired.
A lot of fun.
All right, thanks guys, and we will see you next month.